Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today is part one of a two-part series where I discuss with you 10 books that I would like to read in the rest of 2020. I know we're not that far into 2020 and I probably should have done this video in January and I should have discussed 12 books with you, but we're 2 months in, so 10 books. Because I'm lazy and life gets in the way. Sorry. So, I will discuss 5 books with you today, and in another video I will discuss the remaining 5. So the first book that I want to get to this year is Sir Bernard Spilsbury's not autobiography because someone else wrote it. It's a biography of him. So it's Bernard Spilsbury, His Life and Cases. Now Bernard Spilsbury was a very famous forensic pathologist and forensic scientist in the early part of the 20th century. His cases are much celebrated in the true crime world, which I am a fan of. He was a showman. He was at the time considered like the utmost in forensic pathology. It's since come to light that some of the people he had sent down for crimes that they were supposed to have committed, they were actually innocent. So some of his methods weren't exactly correct, but still a very famous figure in the world of police procedure and forensic pathology. So, for nearly half a century, one man was criminal pathologist supreme in the United Kingdom. That man was Sir Bernard Spilsbury, and this is his official biography, written with full access to his private and official papers. A bestseller and a Book Society recommendation when first published in 1951. It is a fascinating record of Spilsbury's work in the big British crimes, from Crippen to the Antiquus case. In a new foreword to this reissue, former famous pathologist Professor Keith Simpson says, "It was no surprise the book became an instant bestseller when first published, and everyone with an interest in forensic science will welcome its reappearance." So, that's the first book that I would like to get to in 2020, the first of 10. Bernard Spilsbury, His Life and Cases. Now, the second book that I'm going to discuss with you today is a book that I was just recently gifted. I won this in a giveaway on Instagram, and I have heard so many good things about this book. This is a first edition, and it's signed by the author, and I am going to get to it this year. It's The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, and I'm so excited. And it is, if I can ever get to the page, it is signed by the author. And I love this. It's such a pretty book. I shall read it to you. I won't read it to you because that would take too long. I shall read the synopsis to you. Elwood Curtis knows he is as good as anyone. Growing up in 1960s Florida, he has taken the words of Dr. Martin Luther King to heart. He is about to enroll in the local black college, determined to make something of himself. But given the time and the place, one innocent mistake is all it takes to destroy his future. Instead of embarking on a college education, Elwood arrives at the Nickel Academy, a segregated reform school claiming to provide an education which will equip its inmates to become honourable and honest men. In reality, the Nickel Academy is a nightmarish, upside-down world where any boy who resists the corrupt depravity of the authorities is likely to disappear out back. Elwood tries to hold on to Dr. King's ringing assertion, "Throw us in jail and we will still love you." But Elwood's fellow inmate and new friend Turner thinks Elwood naive, and worse, the world is crooked, and the only way to survive is to emulate the cruelty and cynicism of their oppressors. When Elwood's idealism and Turner's scepticism collide, the result has decades-long repercussions. The Nickel Boys is a devastating, driven novel by a great American writer whose clear-sighted and humane storytelling continues to illuminate our current reality. I cannot wait to read this. I will read this in 2020. The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. I'm so excited. The next book that I want to get to this year is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Everyone and his wife has read this book, and I still haven't, and I'm not happy with myself. I'm most upset. My husband and I met Erin Morgenstern last November, and she is just the most beautiful human being, and her writing is gorgeous. I've read The Night Circus, which I loved, and I cannot wait to read this. When she was talking about the book, she said that it has elements of Alice in Wonderland. I'm there for that. I'm absolutely there for that. And again, this is the first edition, signed and dedicated for me by the author. And I shall read you the synopsis. Are you lost, or are you exploring? When Zachary Rollins stumbles across a strange book hidden in his university library, it leads him on a quest unlike any other. Its pages entrance him with their tales of lovelorn prisoners, lost cities, and nameless acolytes, but they also contain something impossible, a recollection from his own childhood. Determined to solve the puzzle of the book, Zachary follows the clues he finds on the cover: a bee, a key, and a sword. They guide him to a masquerade ball, to a dangerous secret club, and finally through a magical doorway created by the fierce and mysterious Mirabelle. This door leads to a subterranean labyrinth filled with stories, hidden far beneath the surface of the earth. When the labyrinth is threatened, Zachary must race with Mirabelle and Dorian, a handsome barefoot man with shifting alliances, through its twisting tunnels and crowded ballrooms, searching for the end of his story. You are invited to join Zachary on the Starless Sea, the home of storytellers, story lovers, and those who will protect our stories at all costs. It just sounds amazing, and I can't believe I haven't read it yet. But I will this year. This year is the year. I mean, it only came out last year, but this year I will read this book. So, the next one is another biography, and this is book number 4, and it's Mostly Murder by Sir Sidney Smith, and it's his autobiography. Sidney Smith, I think, was a contemporary of Sir Bernard Spilsbury. He was another forensic scientist, forensic pathologist, and the tagline on this book says, "Was he greater than Spilsbury?" We shall see. Attention is gripped and held from the first page of this remarkable autobiography by the greatest living authority on forensic medicine in Great Britain, if not the world. We read how, from the examination of 3 small bones found in a Cairo well by the police, the author was able to make the following report. Human and female, short and slim, aged between 23 and 25, she had probably had at least 1 pregnancy. She walked with a pronounced limp and was killed by a shotgun fired in an upward direction from a range of about 3 yards. The killer was standing or sitting in front of her and slightly to her left. She died about 7 to 10 days later, probably from septic peritonitis. From this information, which proved correct in every detail, the Egyptian police made an arrest. On many other occasions, which are described in the book by Sir Sidney, which were described in the book, Sir Sidney was able to aid justice with his remarkable powers of deduction. As an expert witness, he figured in dozens of famous murder trials, those of Sidney Fox, Annie Hearn, and Ruxton among them. His clashes in court with Sir Bernard Spilsbury have passed into legal history. This autobiography describes his early days in New Zealand and his student days at Edinburgh, where after graduating he became assistant to Harvey Littlejohn, Professor of Forensic Medicine. Sir Sidney went to Egypt during the First World War and stayed on with the appointment of Principal Medical Legal Expert to the Ministry of Justice. His name became world famous in connection with the murder of the Sirdar, Sir Lee Stack Pasha. In 1928, Sir Sidney returned to Edinburgh as Professor of Forensic Medicine, and from his unique knowledge and experience wrote brilliant chapters in the annals of the British courts for many years. Love it, and I can't wait to get to it. Mostly Murder by Sir Sidney Smith. Book number 5 is another big chunker. I read the first book, this is the sequel. I read the first book last year and I really enjoyed it. It was a book that I had put off reading for so long, and I kind of regret putting it off because I really enjoyed it. So it's Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. So obviously this is the sequel to The Shining. I really cannot wait to get to this, but it's the size of it that just puts me off. I mean, I think in terms of Stephen King books, this isn't massive, but it's a big one. It is a big one. It sits at, oh my goodness, it sits at nearly 500 pages, and wow, it's a lot. But I really can't wait to get to it. On highways across America, a tribe of people called the True Knot travel in search of sustenance. They look harmless, mostly old, lots of polyester, and devoted to their comfortable recreational vehicles. But they live off the steam that children with the Shining produce when they are slowly tortured to death. Following a childhood haunted by the time he spent with his parents at the Overlook Hotel, Dan Torrance has been drifting for decades, desperate to shed his father's legacy of despair, alcoholism, and violence. Finally, he settles into a job at a nursing home in rural New Hampshire, where his remnant shining power provides the crucial final comfort to the dying. Aided by a prescient cat, Dan becomes Dr. Sleep. Then Dan meets the evanescent Abra Stone, and it is her spectacular gift, the brightest shining ever seen, that reignites Dan's own demons and summons him to a battle for Abra's soul and survival. In Dr. Sleep, Stephen King returns to the characters and territory of one of his most popular novels ever, The Shining. This is an epic, glorious story that will thrill both the millions of fans of The Shining and anyone new to this icon in the King canon. I can't wait to get to it, and I'm so excited for it. Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. So that was the first 5 books of the 10 I wish to get to in 2020. There will be another video very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye-bye. Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today is part 1 of a 2-part video. Hi guys. No, it's wrong tone. No. When you're finished. Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today is part 1 of a 2-part series where I discuss with you 10 books that I would like to read in the rest of 2020. I know we're not that far into 2020, but yeah, I should have done this video sooner. So this is 12 books. 12 books? Not 12, Graham. Not 12. 10. Can you count? Clearly not. In this brilliant, sober, detailed and often exciting study, the man himself emerges from his sensational surroundings and sometimes altogether remarkable and great. Sorry, as something altogether remarkable and great. I can't read. I really can't. I shouldn't be a reader. I shouldn't be a booktuber. But anyway, there we go.